describe what you've seen from the quarterbacks this spring?
Yeah, we just got done with practice 13. It's been the three guys rotating through. Everybody's mixing in with the ones, the twos, the threes. I think they've shown a ton of growth. I think that's the one spot where you start with as you come in as a new staff and put in a new system. All three have shown a bunch of growth in their own ways. And as we've gone, we've kind of fine-tuned things to each guy's skill set. As we've gotten into situational football, we've fine-tuned things to each guy's skill set. But it's been daily growth. Been up, it's been down a little bit at times as we've installed more. I think you're just all lights are on you at that point, at that position. And obviously it all goes through that position. And there have been days where we've been really excited. There have been days where we wanted to see more growth. But individually, all three of those guys have done a really, really good job of soaking it in, getting better every day, not making the same mistake twice, which we've really, really hit home at every spot, that one specifically, and commanding the offense and commanding that group. So been really proud of what those guys have done, where they're at, and where they're heading.
And Coach, as you prepare to wrap up the spring practice, how's the offense getting to the speed and the tempo that you want them to execute with? Are they where you hope they'd be at this point of the year?
Yeah, Teresa, good question. We started with that, the base fundamental of how we play and how we want to push the tempo and how we want to play from snap 1 to snap 105. I think as we've gone, it's gotten continuously better from scrimmage 1 to scrimmage 2. It really improved. And every single day, I think it's really improved. It's not where we want to be yet. I think as guys think less and are able to just go play, I think as installation stops and they get to sit back and look at the actual concepts as they're in, I think as we work through June and July and into fall camp, I think we'll take another big step. I think they are where we hope they would be, probably exceeded our expectations at times. It's a smart group. I think every time you put something new in and you want to get to a new concept, kind of slows you down a little bit, and then the second day you do it, it jumps. And so we are happy with where we are. I think as a coach, you always want to be a step ahead of where you probably are, but we are happy with where we are, and I think we're going to just continue to make strides as we get into summer and fall camp.
Ben McKeed and Mike Wilson.
Coach, I have a similar question, but from an overall standpoint with the offense as a whole, are you all pleased where you all are with the install as spring wraps up?
Yeah, Ben. I think we are probably right where we thought we would be. I think there's still, as coaches, as scripted some situations. Like we just got done with a heavy red zone day. I think you leave and you got a bunch of stuff you want to catch up. You get into a third down day. You leave and you got a bunch of stuff that you want to touch up. I think we're where we had hoped we would be in terms of normal situation football. I think the situational football side of it, we got to continue to grow. I think just guys understanding the game better, understanding what we're trying to get done in certain situations. That's the part that if we need to grow in a big way, that would be it. And I think that just takes time. And not that we have a built-in excuse of when we got here, but that's where you always feel behind as the coordinator, that you're not getting enough situational work. And coach has done a really good job of presenting those opportunities to us. And now it's time to learn from what we've gotten and capitalize on those opportunities. That's probably the one area that we've got to really hammer home as we get into fall camp.
Yeah, Alex, you said that all three quarterbacks have shown a bunch of growth in their own ways. What are the ways that each of those three guys have grown this spring to you?
Yeah, I think just as a group have shown the ability to operate within the system. Getting the call, communicating a call, getting to their reads as fast as they can, getting through their run read progressions and their pass progressions. I think just when I say growth, just daily, their process of how they approach, how they learn, how they approach, even just sitting in the huddle off the sideline and how they're able to handle themselves. I think the more they learn, the more they understand what we're trying to get done, the more confidence they'll have. And that where they've probably grown the most is just the confidence to be able to operate within the system. I think only then can you really go and be yourself and really highlight what you can do. They're different. They're certainly different. And so it's on us to continue to learn how they're different, who ends up taking that first snap when we line up in September, and us putting a game plan together to capitalize on that guy's strengths. I don't know if that answers your question.
Brent Tubbs, then Patrick Brown.
Yeah, 2 questions, Coach. One, where would you rate, or what would you say is the confidence level of this unit as you leave spring compared to where it was when you started? And 2, what did you learn most about this unit the last 13 practices?
Brett, from a confidence standpoint, I think anytime you come in as a new staff and a staff where you take over an offense that didn't have just an overwhelming amount of success a year ago, I think that's what you're always fighting is making sure you're coaching really hard, you're coaching details, but you're staying positive. I think the confidence has certainly grown as they've learned and understood what we're trying to get done. I go back to kind of what I said earlier. I think as you put new things in, you take a step back, you adjust mistakes, then you take a step forward. I think we've taken more steps forward than we've taken back. From a confidence standpoint, every time we've been able to go out in team situations, scrimmage situations, we've kind of left there with either we've executed at a really good rate or we haven't. And the situations where we haven't, we've really done a good job as a coaching staff of sitting them down, teaching them where it went wrong, and being able to coach it without being negative in any way. That's been a really, really big challenge from Coach Hype for us, is to stay positive and coach at a really, really high intensity, yet be really, really positive with the group. The days where we've walked off the field and had a bunch of success, we've shown that, sat them down and showed them why they had success. I think the biggest reason for our level of success that we're going to continue to have forward is the fact that we're trying to be the same every single day. It's a process-oriented offense. There's a system to why we do it, to how we do it, and everybody understands their role within it. But we've been extremely positive with the guys to instill confidence. We've been able to show them when it's good, when it's bad, and I think it's an intelligent group of young guys. They're here for a reason. They're intelligent. They're talented. It's our job to bring the best out in them, and so we've continued to challenge them to be the best versions of themselves every day. And I think as they continue to learn what they're doing, confidence will be bred through that. I think anytime you know what you're doing or you know what you're expecting to see, you're going to be able to play at a really high rate with a bunch of confidence. Be honest with you, your second question I forgot.
What did you learn about this unit through 13 practices that you didn't know when you started?
Yeah, I think it's a really prideful unit. I've learned that the more you feed into them, the more you pour into them, I should say, the more you're going to get back. There are a bunch of guys that really care, a bunch of guys that want to be coached. There are a bunch of guys that are still feeling us out as coaches. You know, we're 3 months into this. I think there's still situations that come up where they want to see how we'll react. And like I said, the biggest thing for us has been to be the same every day. Come in, be incredible teachers, hold them really, really to a high standard, hold them accountable in everything that they're doing, and let the end result be what the end result will be. I think the biggest part of our teaching has been the process of getting to a level where you can be an elite offense. I think young people right now, they want instant gratification. They want it now. They want to see the end result now. And it's just been us as coaches, me in front of the group, explaining and continuing to hammer home that it's a process, that we're going to get better one day at a time. It starts with individual work, it goes to group work, then it goes to teamwork, then it goes to situational football, and then it's rewinding it all the way back to how you study, how you prepare, how you sleep, how you eat, how you take care of your body, how you attack your academic work. We have attacked every single part of their lives, and as we continue to build trust with them and they continue to build trust with us, I think we're only going to continue to grow. But I've learned that they're a hungry group. I've learned that they need us to continue to push the confidence factor with them, and they're hungry to learn. They're hungry to be really good. They're hungry to be great. It's just learning how to get there and the process it takes to be an elite offense, to be an elite human being, to be an elite student athlete. And we're continuing to hone in on our process, and we're continuing to hone in on teaching them how to do it. And as long as they keep soaking it in, we'll get to where we want to get to eventually.
Hey Alex, apologize for another two-parter for you. First, just how have you kind of evaluated your running back group with some of the guys you got there, Jabari, D? Have you got to see anything from Tyon and some of those guys? The second part, you've got some experienced tight ends, but also got a freshman there, Miles Campbell. How have you kind of seen his growth and development? What do you like about him over the course of getting to watch him in the spring?
Yeah, Patrick, the running back group, we've continued to roll a bunch of guys through there to see, similar to the quarterback situation, see what each guy's skill set is, who can continue to be an every down back for us. We've seen a bunch of growth from Jabari, a young man that we hadn't seen a lot on film. He's continued to take daily strides, both as a back in the backfield, as a receiver, out of the backfield. He's got to continue to grow and become a complete back in terms of pass protection and catching the football. Been really happy with him. D has continued to grow. Tyon Evans got banged up there early, has been able to come back and was able to scrimmage last week. It was really good to see him. I think his future is incredibly bright. I think he's going to continue to push for that spot and a variety of different roles within the program. We got to continue to figure out in that position who are one through whatever that number may be. We're continue to push that group. I think Jerry Mack's done a really good job of rolling those guys, letting them all go with the 1 O-line, with the 2 O-line. But I think as we leave spring, that's a spot that we need to continue to figure out exactly where our depth is and in what order and what each one of those guys can really do. There are a bunch of guys that hadn't played at this level, and we're continuing to put those guys in situations where we got to figure out who and in what order. But in terms of the depth, there's a bunch of guys that are capable, and it's on us to continue to develop them over the next 4 months. That room needs to and will continue to grow up. In terms of the Miles Campbell, Miles has been a really pleasant surprise. Anytime you come in as a mid-year enrollee, all your buddies are back home getting ready for prom and graduation and senioritis and being goofballs. I think Miles, it took him a minute to figure it out that, hey, I'm in college, I'm taking 15 credit hours, and I got to wake up early. I got to go to bed early. These guys want me in here all day. I got all these places I got to be. It took him a month, and I think since we started football, he's been just growing daily. A ton of promise. He soaked it all in. I've been really happy with how he's learned. I've been really happy with how hard he plays. He's got a chance to be a really special player here. I'm excited he is here. And I think his future is incredibly bright. It was really big for him to be here mid-year and be able to go through spring and learn what it is to be a college football player. Because I think he had no clue when he got here that it was going to be all of this really fast, all at once. But I think it takes a special young man to come in at mid-year. It's become such a common deal in college football now. I think it takes a special young guy to come in and be able to adjust and fit in, and especially a place like this where the weather is always beautiful and campus is pretty, and you've got to focus in on ball, and he's done a really good job over the last couple of weeks once he's figured out a routine, and I'm really proud with where Miles is. I hope he can help us in a big way, maybe even this fall.
Two more questions, David Pascal, then Wes.
Alex, can you just talk about how eager are you to see these quarterbacks on this stage Saturday? And is there a concern that there may be some overreaction? I mean, the SEC Network will replay this game in the weeks and months ahead. So if somebody has a great performance or a horrible performance, there may be an overreaction.
Yeah, I guess I haven't thought about an overreaction. I've really just thought, and not to minimize your question, for us it's going to be a scrimmage. It's going to be an opportunity for our guys to go play in front of people. I'm excited to see them go play. Excited to see all those guys be able to roll in there and do what they do. Going to be people there. TV, it's awesome for us. Recruiting, but for us offensively, and I imagine it's the same for Coach Banks, we just want another however many plays it is that we can go play football how we want to play and be able to execute at a really high rate. Whoever the quarterback that's in there, we'll try to maximize their ability within those drives. But I'm excited for us to take it one drive at a time, play with relentless attitude and effort, play with really, really good tempo, play with a level of violence, and play as hard as we can, as long as we can. And it's awesome. There's going to be people, TV, the whole deal. How it gets written about or talked about, it's out of my control, it's out of their control, and all we can control is how we play one play at a time. So, and that's not to sound cliche on it. I guess I haven't thought about the reaction part of it.
And Alex, from the outside looking in, when you look at kind of the numbers there at receiver, it seems like there's a lot of good athletes there. You got maybe 6, 7, 8 guys who look like they could be guys who could make some plays. Are you seeing some definition in those roles now? Are you seeing some guys start to separate themselves in terms of, hey, like we're going to have to get this kind of ball?
Yeah, Wes, I think the biggest thing that I've tried to sit back and figure out, and Coach Burns has done an incredible job of taking those guys from when we got here to where they are right now, in terms of them developing both as route runners, blockers, fundamentally understanding how to line up, where to line up, how I fit. It is so drastically different than what those guys have been used to. There's not a ton of experience there, not a bunch of guys that have played. The biggest thing for us on offense we've tried to do is figure out who is good at what and continue to develop them all as complete players. It's been awesome to see some of those young guys step up and grow. And those young guys, Jalen Hyatt, Cedric Tillman, really in terms of playing has been a young guy. Jimmy Callaway, Walker Merrill has been an incredibly big surprise in terms of you just had no idea coming in. He's mature beyond his years, both as a player and the way he handles and approaches the game. And so Bayless has played a bunch. We've put a lot on him, tried to get him to continue to take the next step. Ramel Keaton has shown. Kobe has shown in a lot of ways that he's fighting like crazy. I think just as a group, those guys competing in terms of roles defining themselves, I think if you've seen us play, we're going to need them all. We're going to play a bunch of them. We're going to play really fast, and they're all going to have to play. And it's on us as coaches. It's on us as we continue to develop game plans to figure out who, where, and how to get them the football. And capitalize on what guys are really good at, and use the next 3-4 months to hone in on the guys that on the guys that are going to play, the stuff that they're not good at, continue to develop. And I truly believe that Cody Burns is as good as anybody I've ever been around at developing that position. He played the position. He's coached in this conference. He knows what it takes. And there's a fiery approach to how those guys are getting coached, and I think they're going to continue to grow and take steps. Their roles will continue to get defined as we get into fall camp and start to hone in on week 1. That's when we'll really, truly, those guys will figure out who's playing where, who their backups are, and how we roll. They're starting to get there right now.
Thanks, Coach, for your time.
Thank you, guys. Go Vols. Appreciate y'all. See you Saturday.